Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar on Accelerating Advanced Digital Construction Management Systems Program. My name is Mike Baltez from FTA's Research Office, and I am the project manager for this grant opportunity. During the next hour, I will provide a high-level overview of the project to include program requirements and other specifics and important dates for submitting applications. Finally, there will be ample time for question and answers at the end of the presentation. We will do our best to answer your questions if there are any. Today's agenda, we have a lot to cover. We'll start with a webinar process and post-webinar support. There'll be opening remarks from Mary Leary. We'll talk a little bit about why our advanced digital construction management system is important and what exactly does FTA see as ADCMS tools that would be useful in the public transportation industry. And I'll talk a little bit about the ADC program itself, ADCMS program itself, the goals, program components, and eligible applicants and other specifics. A little bit about the research application information, and then of course, key dates and application submission. Very important, key dates and application submission. I'll talk a little bit about the overall review of applications, the selection process, and then and how the applications are going to be evaluated. We'll close with two slides. ADCMS program application important links. We'll do Federal Register and grants.gov to give you some idea of where things reside. And then at the end, we'll do question and answer. And just a quick note about that, we have a Q&A pod that is part of the toolbar either at the top or the bottom of your screen. Please use that to submit questions. You can submit questions at any time during the webinar. We have a team that's monitoring the questions, and hopefully we'll be able to get to most of them live today. If we don't, they're going to be part of the official record, and we'll be able to answer all of the questions that have been submitted. Additional questions, follow up after the webinar. If you'd like, you can submit those to FTA by sending an email to adcms@dot.gov. Today's presentation materials will be available at the FTA website. We'll have a PDF version, a digital hard copy of the presentation itself that I'm giving today, as well as a recording of this webinar. So opening remarks, I'd like to turn it over to Mary Leary. She's the Associate Administrator for Research, Demonstration, and Innovation, the Office of Research at the Federal Transit Administration. Mary?
Thank you, Mike. And we're very fortunate to have someone with your background and expertise as a senior program manager leading this effort. So Mike, thank you for your dedication to this program. Very excited about it. Thank you everyone who is on the line today or joining our webinar and for your interest in this exciting new program, Accelerating Advanced Digital Construction Management Systems. At FTA's Office of Research, Demonstration, and Innovation, our role is to lead innovative research, technical assistance, training, and bus testing projects that serve FTA's mission. FTA's mission is to improve America's communities through public transportation, and we envision a better quality of life for all built on public transportation excellence. One way we can achieve this is to ensure effective and cost-efficient investments in digital infrastructure with enterprise solutions like digital construction management systems. Before going into public service, I was actually in the enterprise business solutions world for almost 20 years. I know how a viable, well-planned, well-supported, and well-executed software solution can enhance an organization. At FTA, we're excited about this opportunity to find a partner that can help us realize the value of investments in digital construction management systems in public transit. Over the next 45 minutes or so, as Mike noted, we will provide an introduction to what ADCMS is, why it is important, and most importantly, what we're looking for in applications to this notice of funding opportunity. What I'd like to stress first and foremost is we're looking for solutions that are innovative, easily integrated across processes and functions in transit that connect as seamlessly as possible through the full life cycle of an infrastructure project. We are encouraging all applicants to be sure to think through the elements of the Advanced Digital Construction Management Program. Review and address the 9 goals. These are actually statutory goals. Congress actually saw the value of this and put this new program in the bipartisan infrastructure law. And so it's really important to think through those goals and address everything, including workforce, knowledge transfer, benchmarking, and change management. Often the largest challenges and impediments to planning and implementing cross-functional software solutions are the organizational implications. So that's why change management is so essential. We know this is an amazing opportunity that can make a huge difference in infrastructure program delivery, ensuring programs are brought in on time, on budget, with an effective handoff to the operations team, ensuring strong asset management. So again, thank you very, very much for joining us today. And I'm going to turn things over to Molly King, who recently joined my team as our Deputy Associate Administrator. And Molly has firsthand industry experience in this area and will have a key role as an executive leader overseeing the implementation of this program. Over to you, Molly.
Thank you, Mary. It is a really exciting time in our industry right now, and there are a lot of forces for change that have intersected. Today, I'll highlight 2 that are most relevant to why we're here today. With a historic level of investment, a once-in-a-generation investment in America's infrastructure, we're granting billions of dollars on large infrastructure projects across the country. At the same time, we see an opportunity to improve project delivery. In fact, studies show that 25 to 50% of projects encounter cost overruns and delays. As we're funding billions of dollars of large infrastructure projects across the nation, we all want to see those dollars implemented as effectively as possible. And this is where advanced digital construction management systems come into play. We can go to the next slide. ADCMS is broadly defined as empowering more timely and productive information sharing among stakeholders through reduced reliance on outdated pen and paper methods. ADCMS makes modern digital technology available throughout the construction lifecycle of these infrastructure projects. All construction stakeholders benefit at all stages of the infrastructure lifecycle. It starts with IT, planning teams, finance, procurement, and impacts everyone involved in the program: project managers, construction firms, construction workers, engineers, customer outreach and marketing, and let's not forget, upon project completion, operations and maintenance teams. We know that construction is often the costliest and potentially the most disruptive phase of any public transportation infrastructure project. Effective and efficient management of all elements and lifecycle phases of infrastructure construction is key to on-time and on-budget delivery. Project teams must know why and how specific changes or improvements are being made, ideally in real time, and beware of variations in methods of construction, delays, and stakeholder inputs. Public transportation infrastructure projects could have delays, cost overruns, avoidable revisions and change orders, worker injuries, or substandard build quality without effective and efficient infrastructure construction management strategies. We're so very excited about this program and its potential. So I'd like to turn it over now to our program manager, Mike Baltes, to walk us through this notice of funding opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Molly, for the great opening. I appreciate that. So as mentioned, this notice is really a part of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to improve public transportation infrastructure in the U.S. So this notice makes available exactly $5,093,000 to award one competitively selected program lead. Funding is available under FTA's Public Transportation Innovation Program, what we call 49 USC 5312. And as part of this program, the first $5 million, if available, additional funding may be added to this particular opportunity. So of course, we have a vision for the ADCMS program. FDA, we have a clear vision for the overall program. FDA wants to accelerate the adoption of ADCMS digital platforms across the transit industry, be they in small rural properties with just a few fixed routes to the largest multimodal agencies. As stewards of public funds, we, FTA and the Office of Research, must explore every option available to reduce capital costs and improve project delivery. So we have a very unique opportunity here as part of the program, and working with the transit industry, the Office of Research working with the transit industry, we can create literally a living laboratory for demonstration and study of technical issues. What we're hoping to achieve is to have this project, or it could serve as a potential host to showcase how the ADCMS projects were incorporated and integrated into existing infrastructure projects at public transit agencies, and to demonstrate how it was measurably beneficial to use these digital tools. So more about the program. So we anticipate, given the technical complexities of integrating an ADCMS digital solution into, an end-to-end enterprise solution into a particular public transit capital project, we're looking at demonstrations to have a duration not to exceed 4 years from project's start date. Of course, it can be less if the timeline and the work plan can manage it, but we'd like to see projects that don't exceed 4 years from project start date. So eligible activities: deploying, demonstrating, supporting, documenting of practices, developing performance metrics relevant to each of the digital tools and the projects in which they've been integrated into, and of course, the overall benefits of the ADCMS solutions. So as Mary mentioned before, we have 9 statutory goals for the ADCMS program. And over the next 3 slides, I'll try to address them at the highest level that I can with giving you enough specifics. Now, remember, all of this is in the notice itself. So you can, obviously read them and talk about them amongst yourselves. So the first goal is digital systems applied through the life cycle of an infrastructure project. And so that life cycle is planning, design, engineering, construction, operations, and maintenance phases. Number 2, a more timely and productive information sharing among stakeholders. I think it was Molly and Mary who both mentioned this represents a unique opportunity, particularly at smaller and medium-sized transit agencies, to share information in real time with all of the relevant project stakeholders. We see that as transparency, and we see that as being highly efficient as well. And hopefully at the end of the day, this will result in better public transit capital projects. So we want to enable and leverage, number 3, enable and leverage the use of digital technologies on construction sites by contractors. This is state-of-the-art automated and connected machinery and optimized routing software. The development, number 4, the development and deployment of best practices for use in digital construction management. One of our mandates at the Office of Research is that we develop information, best practices, lessons learned for the public transit industry. And so as part of this overall project, we will be looking to have best practices and lessons learned documented. Statutory goal number 5, we want to increase technology adoption and deployment by states, local government authorities, and designated recipients that enable sponsors to integrate the adoption of digital management systems. And this goes right to the crux of the overall program itself. We are hoping that the end result of this is that the project is so successful, the program is so successful that, and hopefully we've hosted a few living laboratories along the way, that the industry begins to really talk a lot about the use of ADCMS digital solutions and tools in their capital projects. Number 6, technology training and workforce development. So I think it's really important to stress how important training and workforce development is to the Federal Transit Administration. We have a lot of capacity building programs. In particular, we have one in the Office of Research itself. So related to ADCMS, training and workforce development. And I would be remiss if I didn't say some help for potential applicants. The FTA, the Office of Research, recently published its National Workforce Strategic Development Plan, and that may provide some additional guidance to applicants. Number 7, kind of the same, development of guidance, development of lessons learned. Number 8, reduction in the environmental footprint of construction projects. So anytime we can reduce delay and reduce cost and build a better project, we're going to reduce the environmental footprint. And I think it's probably important to also state that, by its very nature, public transit produces a small, or it helps to reduce the environmental footprint. So if we, through the use of ADCMS systems, if we are able to deliver better and deliver quicker important capital projects, public transit capital projects, they go in the revenue service, and hopefully we can reduce single occupant vehicle use. We can increase folks walking to and from stations and stops. And that way we can also reduce the environmental footprint. And for number 9, enhanced worker and pedestrian safety. If you don't know, safety is goal number 1 for the United States Department of Transportation. I'm sure you're aware of the Vision Zero initiative. And so FTA shares this goal and believes that increased transparency will result in safer public transit capital projects, both for its workforce and for the riding public. So more particulars, and this has to do with the program lead position. So what we are looking for is for the program lead, the application, to demonstrate ADCMS digital solutions on transit construction projects. And let's say that that's a generic description of what we call a construction project. It can range from a new bus garage to a 10-mile light rail segment, or it can be a tunnel in New York City for a subway extension, for example. And we're looking for partnerships. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, to deliver all components of the program. So the program lead will be responsible for delivering all components of the overall program. In the notice, we propose, or the applicant, the program lead, will propose at least 2 transit agency partners to plan, field, and assess 2 commercially off-the-shelf digital construction management systems. Again, offer 2 different ADCMS solutions for the demonstration projects. Yep, and so for the program lead position, this can support the implementation of more than one ADCMS integrated software solution, and we are stressing that we would allow the agency, the public transit agency, to choose the digital software solution. And one important caveat that I want to mention is the program lead cannot be a provider of or have a financial interest in a proprietary ADCMS software solution. More program components. This is sort of getting down to the nuts and bolts of the actual application and what will happen after someone is selected. So we're going to develop a tight timeline, again, not to exceed 48 months. You'll work with me, the program manager. Critical milestones associated with roles and responsibilities and expected results. Data collection. This is something that is not only important to the Office of Research, but it is something that is required as part of an overall project. So there has to be a data collection plan to inform lessons learned for dissemination. And we'd also like to see an off-ramp plan to financially support and sustain the ADCMS digital tools for the demonstration recipient. So as part of the overall application, we'd like to see a plan that talks about how to financially support the ADCMS digital tools that were demonstrated at the transit agencies. And then last, we will expect an evaluation report that will assess the research project's process, outcomes, and impact. And I cannot stress this enough. This is one of our major deliverables for the program itself. This is one of the ways that the Office of Research communicates with our stakeholders in the public transit industry. So as part of the overall program, the program lead in the application, we are asking for the development of a research stakeholder committee, what I'll refer to as the RSC. So this will be it'll be a structured, stakeholder-driven decision framework, right? So develop a structured research framework for decisions related to the demonstrations with regular input from the RSC. So committee representation, to give you sort of a better idea of what we're asking for, we would expect subject matter experts from federal agencies involved in research and development initiatives related to the project's domain, experts from relevant industries, from nonprofit and/or private sector organizations that have a vested interest in the research area, representatives from academia that can contribute their knowledge, their expertise, and academic perspectives to guide the project and ensure its alignment with current scientific understanding, and end users or practitioners from organizations such as public transportation agencies or associations or other relevant professionals. So the point here for the RSC is to review the overall framework, and what we want is to have the RSC offer feedback to ensure the demonstration satisfies the 9 statutory goals of the overall ADCMS program in the most valid and impactful ways possible. And the successful applicant will collaborate with the FTA, myself, and perhaps others on the membership of the RSC. So for eligible applicants, departments, agencies, instrumentalities of local, state, and federal government, and we're going to include federal laboratories in this, institutions of higher education, universities, and particularly those with minority serving institution status, nonprofits, for-profits, technical and community colleges, and of course, providers of public transportation. So research application information. So we have grants.gov. Your application is only accepted via grants.gov. So your application, obviously this is critical, must clearly identify the eligible applicant, And it must identify all project partners on the project team. And of course, it must be specific about their relevant roles of each of the project partners and their contribution to the overall application. Applicants must submit one electronic file for proposals and required formatting and complete and submit the supplemental form. Now, a little thing about the supplemental form. The FTA, it's downloadable, and we created it, and we offer it to potential applicants. Please only use FTA's supplemental form. Please don't create your own and then submit it. Your application will be invalid. Only use FTA's supplemental form. And once a project is selected for funding, the applicant will need to apply for a cooperative agreement in our financial system called TRANS, and within a reasonable time frame, typically 60 days. And of course, as the project manager or program manager, I will be available to assist the applicant with that process. And I cannot stress this enough, even if you're here just for information today and you don't intend to apply, but you would like to work with the FTA's Office of Research at some point, we have a research circular known as 61.1E. This circular contains every piece of relevant and important information regarding research project application and management. And the link is there. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that you familiarize yourself with this document if you intend to apply to this grant program or any other one within FTA's Office of Research. So key dates and application submission. We released the notice on Friday, October 13th, 2023. Applications are required to be submitted through grants.gov by February 12th, 2024 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That is exactly 120 days. Given the unusual complexity of gathering partners, making sure roles are defined, and just the overall complexity, the nature of this program, we wanted to give applicants an additional 30 to 60 days over the typical notice duration to make sure that the the applications are could be better, hopefully. So your applications must include an SF-24. SF stands for standard form. You're required to include the lobbying form. You'll have to have the supplemental form that I mentioned before. And of course, you'll have to have your proposal in. And we like information. The more you give us, I think the better to support your application. So that can include letters of support, memoranda of understanding, technical information as necessary. So the overall review and selection process. So the grants.gov is closed, your application is in. It's my responsibility to now go through and look at all the applications, make sure that they're valid, and then review them and then select them. So in your notice, these 6 bullets were taken directly from the notice. These are the evaluation criteria that a committee made up of federal staff will use to evaluate your application. And I'll read them. Organization capacity and key personnel experience, proposer and proposal team technical experience, applied research, and other related experience. That's important to the overall program. We'd like very much to have a team, a program lead who has had applied research experience, as well as potentially federal experience managing other projects. Project approach and work plan, technical, legal, and financial capacity. And I skipped over proposed projects because I just wanted to mention proposed partnerships because I wanted to mention how important that is. So this project really rests this program really rests on the quality of those partnerships and those projects that we're going to apply the ADCMS digital solutions to. So in your application, please provide as much background and detail and specifics as you can about your partners, why you chose them, and then of course their role and their contribution to the overall project. And so after considering the review of technical evaluation committee, the FTA administrator will determine the final selection for program funding. So here are some important links for the program application. So again, posted on the 13th, closes on the 12th in 2024. The opportunity ID here, this is exactly what you would use to search for the actual notice. It's FTA 202301 TRI ADCMS. And here are some links to the program, the announcement in PDF, and the opportunity in a text file, all downloadable. And for grants.gov, this is obviously, this again, I'll stress, this is where you are to submit your application. So these are some live links as well. And I do want to mention that in the submission of your applications, it's really important that you familiarize, if you haven't, you need to work with grants.gov, familiarize yourself with grants.gov, and please do not wait until the last minute to submit your application or to work with grants.gov. I would hate to have a fantastic application not make it into grants.gov so that we have the opportunity to review it. And as the program manager, I will not be available to help you with grants.gov. You will have to use their support line, and that number is below at 1-800-518-4726, and that also can support you via email as well. Okay, so that concludes my presentation, and we'll do question and answers. And if I think we have 5 questions. So if you have any additional questions, please use the Q&A pod. And I'll say again, if there are any questions after the webinar that come up, please send them to adcms@dot.gov, and all the questions that are submitted today are part of the record, and we will provide, if I don't get to them live, I will provide an answer to those questions. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Sure.
So we'll kick off the Q&A session. And like Mike said, again, if we don't answer your question here, we are making note of it, and we will post a response on the website. So starting at the top, we have our first question. If the program lead is a transit agency, may that transit agency also be one of the minimum of 2 transit agencies demonstrating ADCMS solutions? Yes. The program lead can be a transit agency. And sorry, that it can be a transit agency, and it may also be one of the agencies that's demonstrating an ADCMS solution. Second question, would it be possible to receive the slides of this presentation? Absolutely. These slides and a recording of the webinar will be posted on the website. $5 million is for one project or for multiple projects? Great question. $5 million is for one application. And as Mike has shared in the overview of the NOFO, that addresses 2 projects. So as part of one application, we want to see 2 projects. How can we get a copy of the presentation and recording of this webinar? You'll be able to access that online, the same place where you signed up for the webinar on the FTA website.
For the question on how, this is Mary Leary, for how does an industry, there's a question, how does an industry stakeholder get involved or be part of the RSC? That is actually going, the RSC will be developed by the awardee. And we'll have further information on that in the future once we have a partner and awardee for that. So it's not a question we can answer right now. It's going to depend upon what process we end up having.
Mike, do you mind going back one slide so folks can note the web address? There we go. Can a Department of Transportation work with two different areas, say two different cities, to qualify as the two different projects? And the answer is yes.
Again, as Mike noted before, and as Molly also mentioned a bit ago, the goal here is to have two different solutions implemented. And the purpose of that is we like to compare them. We'd like to see what is the ease of use and get feedback back, because this is a broad industry. There are a lot of solutions out there. This program is funded through our Public Transportation Innovation Program, and the bipartisan infrastructure law is the authorization. And we have appropriations that every year that have funded this program, and it's all through the Section 5312 funds, Public Transportation Innovation. Are there any other questions? I think at this point, we have two questions we're going to get back to everyone on. Do we have any other questions? Okay, if not, Mike, do you want to close with, we've got one more question. Does the ADCMS solution being tested have to support field activities related to construction? Could it support non-field activities, e.g. design reviews? It would need to support both. Again, we're looking for a full life cycle solution, not parts of the functions and not parts of the processes. That's the whole point here, is accelerating advanced digital construction management systems. Advanced digital construction management is an enterprise solution, integrates all aspects of the life cycle of a construction program. So you're going to have many different processes and functions as a part of it.
Mike, do you mind just going forward one slide again so folks can note the email address to get in touch with any other questions? Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We had a thank you for the clarifications.
Okay, and with that, we will end the webinar. But again, as Mike has said, please feel free to reach out. We're open to other questions, and you can reach us at adcms@dot.gov, and we will post the responses to those questions as well online. I just see that we've gotten some additional.
So the question is, not many construction projects can be completed in 4 years. Is the purpose to evaluate an ADCMS tool during construction through completion of construction? So we do understand that it's not going to be possible to have this run in parallel with the construction project. So we're going to be looking again to the applicants to be creative and propose what they think is doable within this time frame. What we do want to do is get enough information about multifunction, multi-process implementation of a digital construction management system solution, so that we can get some best practices, get those documented, and help transit agencies moving forward. And this is a first step. This is a new program. So this is just one notice of funding opportunity that is starting that program off. We will continue on, because this is a major initiative for us. in the research office, and it is a multi-year initiative. So probably a point we just want to reinforce for everyone, this is just the first step. There will be more activities, there will be more funded activities. We just need to see where we're going to go with this first process. And then we'll see what we'll be able to do. In terms of when we will respond to the additional questions, we will respond as quickly as we can, but I can't give you a specific time right now. You can submit questions up until the minute the applications have to be submitted. We're here to be supportive and helpful. Again, all questions will be posted though after we answer them so that all potential applicants can have the opportunity to benefit from questions that are asked.
Great. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to any additional questions and ultimately your applications. Thanks and have a great day.